This is about taxes on wealthy people. I'm going to explain to you why the proposals by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are completely wrong and absolutely outrageous. So, what Warren is proposing is something called a wealth tax. That means that if you have more than 50 million in property, you pay 2% annually. What you don't realize is that basically it's capping property ownership at $50 million. So anything over that is being taxed at 2%. But over the course of a person's lifetime, the government is basically taking all that money 2% this year, 2% the next year. Cumulatively, they're taking all that money. And what it creates is a communist society. A socialist and a communist society is where the government owns everything instead of it being privately owned. It creates a de facto communist country because the government is taking all the money from all the wealthy people in the form of taxes. When they die, they won't be able to pass money on to their kids. The government took it all. So whatever business they were investing is over. Uh, okay, for example, Sam Walton passed on Walmart to all of his kids. It's his kids that have been running it. Now, Bernie Sanders has another idea which is really dumb. He wants to do like a 90% tax, and he argues, well, the top 3% have more wealth than the bottom 40%. Well, guess what, Bernie? Your argument is completely invalid, and I'm going to explain to you why. The reason why is because what you're proposing is instead of having a wealthy class of individuals who earn their money, you're proposing that you control all the money. How is that better? He wants to take the top 3% and turn it into him. Because if he becomes president and he controls all the money from all the wealthy people, again, you have the communist country. It isn't better. You're actually worse off. You have even fewer people that are controlling all the wealth. Instead of thousands of wealthy people in the top 3%, there's going to be one person, and it would be the president, because the president ultimately controls everything. Now, the other thing that Bernie says is that wealthy people do not pay their fair share in taxes. It's absolutely not true. The fact is that wealthy people pay for everything. You cannot tax people that don't have money and pay for stuff. Almost all the taxes that are generated by the government come from wealthy people. Poor people are not paying the budget of the government. The other thing is, all of the money that we have, if you have a job, the hourly wage and your yearly salary, it all comes from wealthy people. It comes out of their pockets. I used to own a business. When you own a business, I had 50 employees. That was all money coming out of my pocket that I was paying them on a monthly basis or bi-weekly. And if I wanted to increase my profits, all I had to do was fire employees. Wealthy people are already providing for everyone in the country. Everyone in the country and everyone in the world, all the money that you get through any form of work, any form of salary or wage, comes from a wealthy person. They're already paying their fair share. They're already doing what their responsibility is. There's no need for them to pay more. The fact of the matter is if you tax them, they're all going to leave the country, just like Burger King did. Burger King left the country. They're a Canadian country. They're not an American country anymore. Once they leave the country, you're not going to be able to tax them anymore, and then everything you promised isn't going to work, and then they're going to have to pass laws to prevent people from leaving the country, and then again you have a de facto communist state. Now, they talk about equality and justice and making a just system. What they don't tell you is that they'll make sure you have a home, and they'll make sure you have a job, and they'll make sure you have food. But if you don't do what they tell you to do, they put you in prison. That's what every communist country does. If you don't obey the rules, they won't kick you out of your house. They'll put you in prison. You give up your freedoms and you can't leave the country. Nobody can leave a communist country. You can't leave Cuba. You can't leave North Korea. You couldn't leave China. You couldn't leave communist Soviet Union. That's what you're heading for. And I think it's going to happen because, people think, oh, it's free, and then they're going to take it, and we're at the point where people are too dumb